So this morning I'm going to kind of end this 3-session talk about experience, and I'm going to talk more about experience within the meditation sitting. And I'm going to go from a part of our book, chapter 5, where we explore the tension between opposites. So it's really looking at two opposites as interacting, even though they may seem like opposing forces or elements. And we've mapped out 7 different processes that seem to go on within the meditation sitting. But these are just the way we cut the pie. So I'm going to just state them slowly. They're in the book. You could always look them up. So the first pair is holding on or holding more and letting go. But those are two opposites that often happen in meditation. Metabolizing and being stuck is another pair. Idealizing and demonizing, another pair. Quieting or inquiring or questioning, another pair. Resisting or receiving. Experimenting or staying with the known. And unifying and discerning. So these are not absolute truths about what happens in meditation. These are just what we've seen over the many years of hearing people talk about their experience and saying more about their experience after they meditate. And in common parlance, this helps us avoid getting into black and white thinking when we can start to see opposites as connected, as part of a continuum, as something that are intertwined or can't exist without the other one. And in meditation, letting go has been a very dominant, let's say, meditation is letting go dominant. There's so many different ways to say this. To let go means to let be. If we cling to anything, we can't be free. Happiness is just beyond your grasp. Don't grasp. Everything I let go of has claw marks. That's from another place, but I often heard that. So why would we bring in the opposite of letting go? Why don't we kind of subscribe to that as being a dominant process? It's really because we've seen the opposite happening too. And our inner worlds are acting like, as I said, like these continuums, and that exploring the opposite actually brings in new language, new understandings, new perspectives, and it can bring in a middle way between what feels like polarized expression of experience. So in the case of letting go, we brought in this other process of holding more. And I couldn't find anywhere in Buddhism where they told you to hold more, except for a Buddha. There's a 1,000-arm Buddha, and that's really holding more. So we're going with that as our as our opposition to letting go, that there are these images of Buddhas that have more than one arm, that can juggle different aspects of experience, that can really learn that there is more going on, and how do I work with that? When that happens, what do I do with it? So the other pair I wanted to look at this morning is because I've been talking a bit about conditionality and non-duality. We coined another process as unifying or non-dual experience. And this does happen in meditation. When we hold the body relatively still, there's times where we do focus inwardly. We feel very collected, or maybe focused on one thing. And there's not that much else going on. And it can be accompanied by a sense of everything coming together. And there's often an uplift with these kinds of states, or maybe even a downshift where things just get settled. Lots of the fluff disappears. And it seems like you're very focused. Um, so, our question is, could this really just be one process of what happens with our experience and not the ultimate or the getting beyond the many to this state where everything is collected and calm and we're one with everything, so to speak. We paired this process with finding difference or discernment. And actually, in Buddhist philosophy and psychology, there is a lot of talk about discernment, and it holds a very high value in meditation practice. Being able to discern things brings clarity. It helps our vision become less cloudy. There's a saying about the Buddha wanting to be able to teach, but was afraid that people would have too much dust in their eyes, wouldn't be able to actually hear or see the teachings for themselves. And over the years, I've had a little dust in my eyes about anger. It's been something I haven't known that well in myself, and I've had difficulty really knowing when I'm angry. And often I've come to the understanding that anger was modeled to me so often paired with aggression and with harm and with fear. It was just something I didn't want to know more about. It was something I hid from myself. And so it's interesting over these years that now I feel really happy when I know I'm angry. It's like it brings a kind of uplift. It brings a kind of knowledge with it. And I have more choice then in the way that I can express it, in the way that it feels in my body and gets activated in the world. So this is a really interesting. It's something that really caught my attention because happiness and anger aren't normally paired together, but through this process of discernment, I've been able to see how they come together for me. So with each of these processes, you might lean more in one direction. You might really be more of a resisting. You might find that that's often comes up in your meditation practice, and that you're not that open or receiving of what is happening that day for you in the sitting. Or you might be really just better staying with what you know and doing it over and over again and repeating that rather than experimenting and really trying something new or putting yourself in a position in your meditation sitting to do something different or to stay with something different in the sitting. And another one of this kind of quieting or inquiring. You may not like to ask that many questions of things. You may be more comfortable finding answers. So these two things that go together, we're saying explore them, see what comes from them, start to learn how to describe them, and that you'll start to see which processes sustain you, which help bring more development in your practice and confidence and trust that your practice is working for you and that you actually can take it with you wherever you go. So I'm leaving, in a sense, a question of, not a question, actually, this is a definite. We want to support you in finding out your what you trust and what you have confidence in your practice, and that things have developed most likely for you since you've been sitting with reflective meditation, and which process, which part of these dialectics or opposites have you often found yourself in and that you can trust and you have some confidence in. You may not have articulated it to yourself yet. You may not really even be sure. Has the letting go dominant narrative really served you? Has it been something that's made a big difference in your practice? Or have you had to bring in some of the other processes to help you understand yourself better? Um, yeah, I think that's it for me this morning. I'll end there. We have